Human Rights Advancement, Development and Advocacy Center HURIDAC, in partnership with the African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies ACD-HRS on Tuesday, launched its first homegrown West African Human Rights Status Report in Abuja. The report, titled The Status of Human Rights in West Africa, has the Human Rights Assessment Report, the country-specific and thematic fact sheet, human rights information cases and records in Africa as its key deliverables, and was launched on the commemoration of the World African Day. The launch, which was for the most part attended virtually via Zoom conference, had Williams Lefango, the Program Officer of UNOWAS, Professor Remy Ngoy, the Vice Chair for the African Commission for Human and People's Rights (ACHPR), the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, as ably represented by Mr. Oke Benedict Agu, Chidi Odin Kalu, Benson Olugbo, Marcella Samba, Nelson Ekujimi, among others, as speakers. Ms. Hannah Foster, the Executive Director for the African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies, who also doubles as a board member of HURIDAC, in her opening remark while welcoming all guests, stated,
"It is indeed an honor and a privilege to make these introductory remarks on this auspicious occasion of the launch of the West African Human Rights Assessment Report 2020. In this magnificent city of Abuja, as we observe African Liberation Day. Let me at the onset thank Ambassador Bankole Adeoye, Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, ably represented here by Ambassador Salah Ahmad, head of AGA, for the positive response to be represented here and to make the opening statement to officially launch the maiden edition of this report.
Speakers and panelists who spoke on various sections and chapters of the report expressed optimism of how the report is and will be impactful to all and sundry, while stressing that the essence of the report is not to name or shame anybody, government or institutions. Rather, it is to make the government and institutions to clean up their acts with regards to the issues of human rights.
It's not only the launch of this report, but the beginning of the real work. The report is not an end, but a means to an end. We have not put this together to play to the media gallery. This is why it's not a naming and shaming report, but a report that is a tool to engage with various stakeholders, including member states, to discuss the detailed recommendations of the report. It allows the government to use it as a gap analysis for the state of human rights of each country. It can be used by civil society to fulfill their advocacy need. It is useful for academic institutions to fulfill their educational need and understanding the human rights architecture in West Africa.
Speaking on the side of the event, some of the panelists had this to say of the report.
Well, I think this is a very wonderful effort. If you ask me, the first of this kind in Africa. And it is going to generally change human rights promotion and protection architecture in Africa. I think it's a wonderful development, and all of us should be very, very thankful to HURIDAC and their partners for being able to commit to this kind of project that seeks to bring to the fore human rights issues in different African countries. I've read part of the report and it's very, very rich. I understand that this report is not to name or shame any person, but just to provide a kind of resource for those who work in this area of human endeavor to know what is happening, a view to making sure that the citizens of Africa and indeed West African sub-region enjoy human rights profoundly.
And I know there are a lot of people who actually want to contribute to different parts of Africa. So we encourage the organizers of this program to expand it and ensure that it's less to have more participants from different parts of the country. And also, if it's not possible to get into 54 countries, geopolitical, regional cities, West Africa, East Africa, North Africa, Southern Africa, I'm sure that we have representatives from different parts of Africa, also Central Africa. I'm sure that we're able to capture different parts of the country. But it's something that is actually encouraged that HURIDAC will be able to do that.
And we'll be working on the thematic fact sheets as well as simultaneously working on the human rights database. These really end products that we feel would be useful for both state and non-state actors.
Kudos, commendation to HURIDAC and the partners, to all the staff, the board of HURIDAC and the partners, and everyone who has played a role in making this a reality and being able to launch it on this momentous day, 25th of February 2021, which is Africa Day. So it couldn't be better, and I'm glad to be here. I feel privileged, actually.
It took about 8 months to prepare. Nights where you couldn't sleep, days where you needed to speak with different people, also do some research, attend meetings, engage different stakeholders. And here we are today. We thank God that the project launch was a reality.
What I face is that one has had to do this exercise pro bono due to one's belief that, look, this is the only way we can play our part for a better society. It's been a very tough one. In fact, at some point in time, I was like, oh, how did I involve myself in this? Because you had these standards that needed to be met up to. And being a part of this history today makes that sacrifices worth it.
Abel Kure for HURIDAC-TV.